Peter Ngeno, General Manager, UAP Investments. It's a pleasure to be speaking to you today.
It's a pleasure to have you, Aly-Khan.
Thank you, Peter, for coming, and thanks for coming to Mindspeak on
No problem.
weekend.
I enjoyed it greatly.
And we look forward to hosting you there as well.
I look forward to it.
Peter, obviously there's been a dramatic development in the last few weeks. I think this is the entry of Old Mutual onto the UAP shareholder register. Do you just want to outline the general terms of that transaction as you understand it?
Yes, that I can do. So Old Mutual, I think the talks began last year when they wanted to acquire a stake in UAP. So the first to sell was Chris Kirubi and Centum, and they sold a total of 23.3% of shares for a combined total of about 6.8 billion.
Yes. And
the reasons they gave for selling the stake was that they needed the funds for other.
They'd made a tremendous return.
Exactly, they had made a tremendous return, and they have all these other projects that they want to invest in, the Lamu and Two Rivers.
Yes.
And we also had some PE investors as well. That was Swedfund, African Invest, and their Braj Group, who in total had 37.3%.
Right.
So a few weeks after Dr. Chris Kirubi sold and Centum sold, then the PE investors also sold, and they sold their share for about 14.2 billion.
Yes.
And I think they bought it in at 5 billion.
So another supernormal return. What period would they have held it for?
They held it since I think 2011.
2011, so pretty fantastic, really.
Yeah.
And you know, Peter, I was looking at things like M&A activity in the region. I mean, that was up more than 100%, I saw, year on year. Do you see this as part of that sort of activity that we're seeing generally? How do you contextualize it? The insurance company sector, I know, has been very, very hot. We've had a number of other transactions beforehand. What do you?
I think people are starting to realize that there's a lot of indigenous Kenyan companies that are very well run, and have got a very good presence in other African markets. And for them, it's an easier route to just buy them and then give them entry into, because with Old Mutual buying into UAP, now they have access to Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania. And those are markets that they were not necessarily in before.
And there are more. How many markets are UAP in?
We're in 6 right now.
In 6,
yes. Yeah, so 6
and
countries.
Kenya is what, about half the business?
I would say Kenya is slightly more than half, but the other regions, in Uganda, the business is doing very well as well. In Tanzania, it's picking up as well. In Rwanda, it's picking up as well. So. And
you also mentioned in South Sudan that you're.
Yeah, South Sudan is we entered that market, I think it was in 2006. Everyone looked at the chairman, Dr. Joe Wandri, like he was crazy, but it turned out to be a very fantastic investment because it's one of our better performing businesses right now.
And do you think that, I'm still just being generic, but do you think that local indigenous entrepreneurs have a competitive advantage in these markets? Or how would you describe, because you're describing quite an intrepid move into new markets.
I think, in business school, they always tell you think locally but act internationally, right? Yes. So I think, yes, there is a competitive advantage because we're the people on the ground. We know how Kenyan people think. We know what makes them tick and everything like that. So it makes sense, that when Old Mutual, comes in, they kind of retain the UAP brand because that'll be a way for them.
Oh, it's a strong East African brand. You wouldn't want to lose it.
Exactly, it's a strong brand, and it's also just a way of because we're in touch with the local people on the ground, so we know what makes them tick, and that's why we've been so successful.
So congratulations on that, first of all.
Thank you.
At UAP, we enhance lives across Africa to deliver the dreams we all hold so dear. Insurance, investment management, property investment, and financial advisory. UAP, better, simple life.